Hello everybody, so today I'm going to be telling you about all of the books that I bought over the past couple of months or that I've received, and I'm really excited about it. I'm excited for every book haul I do, but I feel like this month I have a lot of kind of like thrillers, spooky books, like different sort of books to what I'm used to, and because it's October I am like super excited. I want to get to like all of these, but obviously that's not happening, but you know, that's okay. So first off, I'm going to tell you about the books that were kindly sent to me from publishers. So from Allen and Unwin, I got sent Odd Hours by Ania Bass. This one, from my understanding, kind of fits in the tired, unwell girl genre of literary fiction. It is about a woman named Gosia who is a sensitive soul with a filthy mind and problems with intimacy. She works at a supermarket and lives in a flat share and spends hours inside her own head until a chance encounter snaps her out of her funk, and she's propelled into a series of mediocre jobs, lousy dates, and even worse sex. The prickly yet warm-hearted Gosia begins her excavation of the perfect life so many dream of. I feel like it's quite big for this sort of genre of lit fic. Like, I feel like a lot of the unwell women, unhinged women books are quite small, but this one is quite big. So I'm very excited for this one. Don't know when I'm gonna get to it, but thank you so much to Allen and Unwin for sending me this one. Also from Allen and Unwin, I got Life Ceremony by Sayaka Murata, and this is a short story collection from her. This is the same author who wrote Convenience Store Woman, which I know is very, very popular, and I am particularly excited for this one. I've read a couple of the short stories from this already and I'm enjoying it, but I'm kind of taking my time with it. This is essentially a short story collection about life ceremonies, and so it covers a lot of things like marriage and dating and, you know, love and everything like that, but with a weird and kind of unhinged sort of twist because, you know, it's Sayaka Murata. But so far, really liking it, and again, thank you so much to Allen and Unwin. And then from Penguin Australia, I was sent Train Lord by Oliver Mole. Now, this is a memoir. I requested this one specifically because it's about Oliver, who was young and healthy and really, really lively at the age of 25, and then Oliver got chronic migraines and it ruined his life completely, and it's about his journey through that and how he got out of it and got a job as a train conductor, I believe. Not a train conductor, a train guard. So for 2 years Oliver watched the lives of others, observing the intimacy of strangers, and it tells his story with chronic migraines and his life afterwards. And I am so intrigued by this. A family member of mine had chronic migraines for a couple of years, and it was so devastating to watch. Like, it was absolutely horrendous. I could not even imagine like having that sort of pain all the time. And so as soon as I heard of this, I knew I needed to pick it up. And I don't know when I'm going to read it. It's quite short, like the actual writing itself is like quite big, and it's not a very like thick book, so it won't take me long. I think I'm going to try and listen to the audiobook of this, but I'm really excited about this one and really curious to see how it goes. So this next book was a book that I bought when Little Book Owl was here in WA, and we went out, we met, we had like lunch and went book shopping. I did get a couple of more books, but I really want to show off this one. So it is a Studio Ghibli art book, and it is the most stunning thing I've ever seen. So I love Studio Ghibli so much. So like when you open it, you got all the suit sprites there, but like every single image in here is just absolutely gorgeous. There's so much like original art in here, and it's just absolutely beautiful. Like all sorts of different art styles and like designs, and from a bunch of the different Studio Ghibli movies, and it's so pretty. Look at that. Oh my god, oh my god. Like, I am absolutely obsessed with so many of these. I think they're so pretty. I kind of like, I went through and had a flick through a few of them, but I feel like every time I randomly open up to a page, I'm like, yes, I love these. And so I decided to splurge and I got it. So I'm really happy with that. And I had such a fun time that day anyway. And I'm so happy I got this because I don't really own like any art books or anything like this. So this is like my first one, but I'm obsessed. Next up are a couple of poetry collections. So first off, I got Goddess of the Hunt by Shelby Eileen. This is a self-published poem collection, which I first read on Kindle Unlimited. And I was so obsessed with it that I decided to get the physical copy just so I could have my favorite poems because it was absolutely gorgeous. This is about the Greek goddess Artemis, and it explores her life from when she was very small up until she gets a lot older. Obviously she's a god, so she doesn't really die, but this does a really cool job of kind of reinterpreting her story and imagining if she was just a arrow ace woman. There's so many beautiful passages on ace and arrow identities, and it's just so beautifully done. So the dedication says, for all aces and arrows, everyone who has to be or chooses to be their own North Star, I dedicate this whole book to you with love. I hope one day we have more books to hold like mirrors and see our own normal reflected back at us. And I just loved it so much. I am absolutely obsessed with this collection. And then I ended up finally getting, because this book is really hard to get a hold of, and I ended up ordering it at a local bookstore, and it took a while to come in, but that's okay because I have it now. So that is Queer Poets of Colour. This is a poetry anthology. This has a whole bunch of poets in here, including like Ocean Vuong and Audre Lorde, and I'm just really excited for this. It is absolutely beautiful and I am really excited for it. The next lot of books before we get into the spooky side of things is kind of a mismatch. So first off, there's a romance called You Had Me at Holla from Alexis Daria, and I've heard pretty good things about this one. It sounds so much fun. Like, I was after this one for a really long time, but it was super expensive, and then it just dropped down in like sale price one day, so I had to pick it up then. This is the first book. I believe there is a second book as well. So it's about two actors, and Jasmine has just gone through a really messy public breakup and is everywhere across the media, and then the leading man, what's his name, Ashton, he is a very private person. They end up being on-screen lovers, and then I think it kind of turns into more than that after the fact. I think it's going to be a really fun time, and it looks really cute, and I'm really excited for it, so I picked it up. Then we have another short story collection. This one is Send Nudes by Saba Sands. This one is a short story collection exploring growing up as a woman and girlhood, and the contradictions and complexities, like growing up too quickly. And I have just heard really good things about this one. I've been so excited for this, and I've been really in my short story era. Like, I've been really enjoying them. Like, the single author short story collections I have been absolutely obsessed with, and I keep looking them up. So if you have any more recommendations, like, please let me know, because I want to do nothing but read short story collections at the moment. I'm obsessed with them. And then we have Night Crawling by Layla Motley. This one I just randomly saw in like Kmart one day. I had never heard of this. I've seen it around a little bit now, but when I picked it up, I had no idea what this was. So it's about Kiara Johnson, who doesn't know what it is to live life as a normal 17-year-old. One night, Kiara ends up finding herself walking the dark streets alone, and she's picked up by two corrupt police officers, and she finds herself in this kind of media whirlwind about police corruption and police brutality, and she ends up testifying in a big trial, and it just sounds really good. I think this one's probably going to like break my soul a little bit, but I'm really excited for it, and I'm here for it. I have since heard pretty good things since I've been seeing this around a little bit, and I'm just really intrigued. I think it sounds really interesting. Next up, we have a sci-fi novel. I know, who am I? I don't know. But this one is Kindred by Octavia Butler. Now, I'm not into a lot of sci-fi. I like some of it, but some I really, really hate. So this one is about Dana, who first meets Rufus on a plantation in Maryland. He's drowning, she saves his life, and it just kind of happens over and over again, like a Groundhog Day sort of situation. Neither Dana or Rufus understand why Rufus can summon Dana whenever he kind of needs her, or why they're kind of intertwined in this way. And each time Dana saves him, the more aware she is that her own life might be over before it's even begun. And I think it sounds absolutely fantastic. I've heard really, really good things about this one. Like, Octavia Butler, I hear, is just a groundbreaking writer anyway. And I've always wanted to read something of Octavia Butler. So I think this is a really good place to start. And I'm so excited to read it, like so hyped. And then finally, after that, I have Babel by Ara Kwong. I love this book so much. I've already read this one. This is the Waterstones edition, so it's got the black sprayed edges and it is signed. And I just recently finished this one and I'm obsessed. This is a dark academia novel. It follows Robin, who is taken away from his hometown in China. This is set in like the 1800s, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 1836. And it's set in Oxford. He's taken away from his homeland and brought to England to study to become a translator at the Oxford School of Translation. It explores colonialism, racism, indoctrination, like all of these sorts of topics. It's really discussed in here. There is a lot of, I guess what you call like info dumps of like linguistics and language and its technicalities and translation, but I found it really interesting. I know some people might not be into that, so just be warned that it is kind of a decent chunk of this book, but I loved it. Also, there's footnotes, and I love footnotes in fiction. It's just a fantastic historical dark academia fantasy, and I loved every second. This was 5 out of 5 stars. I need to not talk about it this much because this is a book haul, but like I'm obsessed with this book. I loved it. Sorry for the lighting change. I had to change my battery. The next lot of books that I have are all books that are kind of horror, thriller, mystery, like that sort of vibe. So the first book that I'm going to show you that I hold is Out There by Kate Folk. I absolutely loved this. This is another short story collection. What a surprise at this point. And this was so unhinged and bizarre. This is a collection of 15 short stories. They're all individual, like self-contained novels, except for the first and the last one. They interconnect. Every single short story was just so weird and so obscene and so bizarre, but I loved every single second. Like, I rated every single story in this short story collection 4 or 5 stars. I did vlog my experience reading this, so if you want to know more details, I do talk about it in that video, which I'll leave up here as well. And there's, you know, short stories on organ fetishism. So instead of being like attracted to butts, you're attracted to livers or kidneys or something like that. And it's just, it was so weird. And there was another one that was just basically about a head growing in the middle of this house, and that's it. And there's so many more. Like, there's so many more. If you really like Junji Ito's manga, I think you would enjoy this. It's kind of that same level of fucked up and weirdness, but it's just in a short story format. And yeah, I loved this so much. It was so well done. And then I just have a thriller. This one is Notes on an Execution by Danya Kakafka. This one follows the story of a serial killer who is currently on death row, and he is going to be executed, I think, in like 12 hours. Yeah, so he is scheduled for his death in 12 hours in this book, and he reflects on what he did to his victims in the past and how he did that. Apparently it kind of explores people's obsession with serial killers and just bad men in general, and how people are so obsessed with finding the good in really bad people, because obviously that is a thing. Nothing's really black and white, but you know, these are not good people, and it's a exploration into that, and I'm so intrigued. I've heard really good things about this. The next one I'm so excited about because I have been trying to get my hands on this for months and months and months, and I found out the reason why I couldn't get the paperback of this is because it came out in this hardback version, and that is Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke by Eric LaRocca. This one is a collection of the titular story as well as 2 others, and the reason I couldn't find this book anywhere is because it just re-released like last month, just in this hardback form. So I had to wait for it to come out, but I'm so glad I finally have it. I'm gonna try and read it in October because I've just heard so many amazing things about Eric LaRocca's work and this story in particular, and if I really like this, I'm going to try and get his other work. So hopefully I really love this because I've been hyping this up in my head for the longest time, so I'm very hyped for that. The next book I have is Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. This is another queer horror book. I've heard this is quite slow paced, but absolutely incredible. So it's about Miri, who thinks that she got her wife back when Leah finally returns after a deep sea mission that ended in catastrophe. But it soon becomes clear that Leah may have come back wrong. Whatever happened in that vessel, whatever it was they were supposed to be studying before they were stranded on the ocean floor, Leah has carried part of it with her onto dry land and into their home. Yeah, I'm very excited for this. When this arrived, I really expected this to be bigger, but it's actually quite small. Like, it's only like a 200 and something page novel, and it's quite like short and condensed. I really thought this was going to be bigger. This one I think is going to be a really quick read, even if it's a little slow paced, just because it is so short, but I've heard absolutely wonderful things about this, so I'm very excited. Next up is a book that I've technically already read, and I read this one last year and absolutely loved it, and just never owned a physical copy, and then I saw it for a decently cheap price, which it hasn't been in ages, and so I decided to pick it up. That book is My Sister the Serial Killer. I absolutely love this. This is kind of, it's like a thriller, but also it's more like a family sort of drama. It follows this woman, Karide, who keeps on getting calls from her sister, Ayula, who's really beautiful. She's absolutely gorgeous, but she keeps accidentally killing her boyfriends, and so she ends up having to literally clean up after her sister's murders. But then her sister ends up falling for the same guy that she likes, and obviously she's worried that her sister's gonna murder this man that, you know, she really likes and is almost in love with. It's very strange, but it's absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed my time reading this. I don't know if I'm gonna reread it at some point, but I'm really glad I own this one now because it was just such a fantastic book. Next up, I have Rabbits by Terry Miles. This one is about a deadly game which might just be altering reality itself. It's a techno thriller set in a world of the popular Rabbits podcast. So in this world, Rabbits is a AR game, and it's so big that it uses the entire world as its canvas. And it started in 1959, and 10 iterations have appeared and 9 winners have been declared. In the latest iteration of Rabbits the game, apparently something has gone wrong, and so Kay, who's been obsessed with this game for years and years, finally gets the chance to play and has to kind of figure out what is wrong and what's going wrong. So really intrigued. I've heard good things about this one. Also, like, look how floppy this paperback is. When this arrived, I was like, I had no idea it was like this good. Like, I can't believe this. It just sits open by itself. Love it. Okay, I have 2 more. So lo and behold, I have another short story collection. This one is Parallel Hells by Leon Craig. This one just sounds so intriguing. I picked this one up when I was in the middle of Out There by Kate Folk. And so I saw this, I read the synopsis, I was like, I have to get this because it just sounds so cool. So it is a short story collection. It says, in this deliciously strange debut collection, Leon Craig draws on folklore and gothic horror in refreshingly inventive ways to explore queer identity, love, power, and the complicated nature of being human. I have not seen this book around like at all. I haven't heard anybody even talk about this, and it only came out a few months ago. But when I looked it up, the very few reviews that it did have were all pretty positive, and I think it just sounds so good. And like I keep saying in this video, I'm really getting into single author short story collections, so I'm really excited to add this to the list as well. And then finally, we have a book from an author who I've read before, and I gave her other book a 3 out of 5 stars. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. And that is Lapvona by Otessa Moshfegh. This one is very different to My Year of Rest and Relaxation. I, thought that book was a bit overhyped, but I didn't hate it. This one is supposed to be very fucked up and weird, and apparently is quite graphic, so just a heads up with that as well. But it's set in a medieval village and follows little Marek, who is the abused and delusional son of the village shepherd, who never knew his mother, and his father told him she died in childbirth. I've heard absolutely fantastic things about this, and I've heard from a lot of people, if you like weirder stuff, then you will probably like this as well. So I thought I'll give this author a second chance. I'll see how it goes with a completely different type of novel from her. And I'm really excited. Also, like, I'm obsessed with the cover. It's so weird. I don't understand it at all, but I love it. They are all of the books that I hauled over the past few months. I am so excited for so many of them. I know I say that every single book haul, but truly, if you think I should start anywhere in particular or like read anything first, please let me know, because it's always so hard to prioritize when you're excited for this many books. Like, it's so difficult. Let me know whether you recommend any of these or whether I should prioritize any. And if you got this far, leave a little pumpkin emoji because it's October. And I hope you have a fantastic day or night. I will leave all of my socials down in the description below as well. And also remember, I am hosting reading sprints this month because I'm a co-host for the Breath of the Wild-a-thon. So if you want to join in on those, I'll leave my Twitch and everything down below. That's twitch.tv/tkitty with 2 Ys. And I'll see you all next time for a new video. Bye!